morning all of you. Today we will discuss on reaction kinetics of oxide growth. In my last lecture, I have elaborately discussed on the growth mechanism of silicon dioxide. In a thermal process, that means when silicon dioxide is grown at a high temperature, how the silicon dioxide is formed and how silicon is consumed, that we have discussed. Silicon and oxygen are reacting at a very high temperature in the range of 700 to 1200 degrees centigrade, and silicon dioxide is formed. That is known as a dry oxidation. When the oxidizing ambients are both dry oxygen as well as H2O molecule, then that oxidation process is known as wet oxidation. So then both the reaction Si plus O2 SiO2 and Si plus 2H2O will give you SiO2 plus H2. So that H2 molecule will come out from the bulk silicon dioxide material, and as a result of which some pinholes will be left, and that is the reason we mentioned that the quality of the wet oxidation is not that much good as the quality of dry oxidation oxide, silicon dioxide. Today we will see mathematically how this growth mechanism is dependent on various parameters, namely the time and temperature. In this view graph, I have shown a schematic drawing, and this schematic drawing is taken from the reactor where the reaction is taking place, that means inside the furnace. You have kept the wafer, silicon wafer, inside the furnace, which is already at a very high temperature, and then oxygen molecules are introduced into that furnace in the form of gas, either oxygen or H2O molecules. They are the oxidants, and they are introduced into the tube in the form of gas. You can see the oxidation species, oxygen H2O, moves through the existing layer of SiO2 to react with Si at the Si-SiO2 interface. And I also mentioned that once a silicon dioxide is formed, a layer of silicon dioxide is formed, then in order to have further reaction, this oxidizing species must first diffuse through this already existing silicon dioxide, then they will come in contact with the oxide and silicon interface, and then they will react with silicon, and as a result silicon dioxide will be formed. Now let us see, the oxidizing agent is introduced into the silicon reactor as a gas and is brought from the gas stream to the wafer surface by a mass transport process. That means the oxidant species means H2O or oxygen molecules from the gas phase to the silicon surface, they will reach from this region to the surface of the silicon. That mechanism is known as mass transport process. Physically, the gas molecules will flow from the gas phase to the surface of the substrate by mechanism which is known as mass transport process or mass transport mechanism. Now there are certain definitions. Let us discuss one by one what are those definitions. Let Ng is the concentration of the oxidant particles in the gas stream. Ng, that means here it is shown Ng. Concentration means number of oxidant particles per unit volume, that is the concentration, that is in the gas stream Ng. Then at the surface of the substrate, means silicon substrate, which you want to convert into silicon dioxide, at that surface the concentration of oxygen particles is N naught. So, Ng is the gas phase and N naught is at the surface. So, what is the difference of concentration? Ng minus N naught, that is the difference of the concentration. So, how much oxygen particles will reach from gas phase to the surface, that depends on the difference between Ng and N naught. If the Ng and N naught is difference is large, so large number of molecules will reach here. NOx is another parameter, which is basically oxygen concentration at the surface after absorption. Is written here, you see NOx. As soon as the oxygen particles come close to the surface, then these oxygen particles, means oxygen or water molecule, whatever it is, they will be absorbed by the existing surface of silicon dioxide. That means we assume that some silicon dioxide already exists on the surface of the silicon. So then this layer, this oxide layer, will absorb those oxygen particles, and just after absorption the concentration of oxygen particles is NOx. Clear? Now, from the surface of this oxide is here is outside the oxide surface is N naught, just inside the oxide surface it is NOx after absorption. Then what will happen? Those oxygen particles, means oxygen molecules, will diffuse to this silicon dioxide layer and they will reach at the interface. So, at the interface, that means silicon dioxide interface, let the oxygen concentration is Ni. That means till now you got 4 concentrations. One is Ng, purely in the gas phase. Next is NO or N0. So, that is just at the surface of the silicon dioxide. Then NOx, that is just after absorption, and then another you got Ni. Ni is the oxygen concentration at the SiO2 interface. Next, so N star is again we can define as the equilibrium oxygen concentration in the oxide. Equilibrium oxygen concentration in the oxide. So, in the oxide there are 2 oxygen concentrations, one is NOx just after absorption, another is Ni at the interface. So, its equilibrium value, when equilibrium is reached, so then that concentration, let us assume it is N star, some equilibrium value, not NOx, not Ni, in between some equilibrium value is N star. Another definition is NV. NV is the number of molecules of the oxidizing impurity that are incorporated into unit volume of the oxide. That means when silicon dioxide is already formed, that means silicon is converted into silicon dioxide after reaction. Whatever the reaction is, either Si plus O2 SiO2 or Si plus H2O gives SiO2 and H2, whatever the reaction is. So, in that reaction, when silicon dioxide is formed after consumption of the silicon, then in that grown silicon dioxide, Nv is the number of molecules of the oxidizing impurity. Is clear? Next, another term is J1. J1 is the flux of oxygen particles incident on the wafer. Flux of oxygen particle incident on the wafer. So, here is the Ng and here is the N naught. So, that means number of particles crosses per unit area per unit time, that is the definition of flux. So, that is defined by J1. Obviously, another definition comes here, and J1 is obviously is proportional to Ng minus N naught difference. That is the depending on Ng and N naught difference, J1 will decide. Hg is the gas phase mass transfer coefficient. That means the gas molecules will transfer from Ng layer, Ng from the gas phase to the surface. It depends on one coefficient which is known as Hg, which is gas phase mass transfer coefficient. Now, this J1 is the flux. This J1 is proportional to Ng minus N naught. Clear? Ng is the gas phase, N naught is just at the surface. So, difference between that to Ng minus N naught. So, J1 will be proportional to Ng minus N naught. Now, if you equate, then that is equal to J1 equal to Hg into Ng minus N naught. So, this Hg value is known as gas phase mass transfer coefficient, just now we defined. Now, what will happen? The oxidant is adsorbed by the existing oxide layer, because some native oxide is already formed, existing layer is there. So, it will be absorbed by that oxide layer. This absorption process is described by the Henry's law. The process of absorption, how many the oxidant particles will enter into the silicon dioxide, will be absorbed by the silicon dioxide, that will be determined by Henry's law. And Henry's law states that in the oxide, the oxidant concentration is proportional to the oxidant partial pressure at the oxide surface. Again, I am repeating, Henry's law states that in the oxide, the oxidant concentration at the surface is proportional to the oxidant partial pressure at the oxide surface. And as per the Henry's law, NOx, what is NOx? NOx is oxidant concentration at the surface just after absorption. That NOx is proportional to P naught, and this P naught is the oxidant partial pressure. NOx is proportional to P naught and this oxidant partial pressure. And if you equate it, then NOx is equal to capital H multiplied into P naught, where this capital H is known as Henry's law constant. Henry's law states that NOx is proportional to P naught. If you equate it, you have to multiply it by a constant, that is capital H, and that capital H is known as Henry's law constant. P naught is oxidant partial pressure. Similarly, we define another term which is Pg. Pg is oxidant partial pressure in the bulk of the gas stream. This P naught is in the just oxide, and Pg is that oxidant partial pressure in the bulk of the gas phase. So, at equilibrium, we assume that N star will be the oxidant concentration in the oxide. So, obviously, the N star is equal to H into Pg. So, now this Ng and N naught are related with partial pressures P naught and Pg by the ideal gas laws. And in ideal gas laws, we know P equal to NKT per unit volume, because volume we assumed always unit. In CGS it is cubic centimeter we assume here per cc. So, here P naught is equal to N naught KT. Similarly, Pg is equal to Ng KT, that is ideal gas laws. Now, using those relations, that means in earlier relation we got NOx is equal to H P naught, and there P naught is equal to N naught KT and Pg is equal to Ng KT. if we replace the value of P naught and Pg in earlier equation, then we get the equation NOx is equal to capital H KT N naught and N star is equal to capital H KT Ng. This capital T is the temperature in absolute scale and small k is the Boltzmann's constant, that is coming from gas law. Small k is the Boltzmann constant and capital T is the temperature which is absolute scale. So now if we get NOx is HKT N naught and N star HKT Ng, then from these two equations easily we can find out the Ng minus N naught, these two equations, and this Ng minus N naught is equal to N star minus NOx divided by HKT. Now, in the earlier expression we have shown that J1 is equal to Hg, small hg into Ng minus N naught. Now, if I replace this Ng minus N naught is equal to N star minus NOx divided by HK2 in that equation, then the flux J1 becomes equal to Hg divided by HKT into N star minus NOx. And now this is equal to small h into N star minus NOx, where the small h is equal to the Hg divided by HKT. This is a substitution. Let us substitute small hg divided by capital HKT is equal to small h. Clear? Small hg is gas phase mass transfer coefficient, small hg, and capital H is Henry's law constant. Small k here is the Boltzmann constant and T is the temperature. Inside the oxide layer, the oxidants diffuse towards SiO2 Si interface. So up to this, the J1 is the flux. What is the J1 flux of the oxidant particles incident on the wafer? That means from gas to the wafer surface. Now it is absorbed, and that this absorption process is decided or determined by Henry's law, and that we equated with the, since that is in a gas phase, and that we also use this ideal gas laws. We also use those relations for simplification to get easier simplified derivation. Okay. Next, after absorption, the oxidant particles, oxygen or SiO2 molecules, they will diffuse towards the SiO2 Si interface. Now what will happen? Let us see. Now the oxidant flux in the oxide is described by J2, and this J2 is proportional to the concentration gradient, that is del N del X. The diffusion process, you know, the particles will diffuse always from higher concentration region to the lower concentration region. That is the theory of diffusion. So that means the concentration gradient, if this is del N del X, this is a del N del X here. So J2 means after absorption from the surface of the silicon dioxide to the interface, that movement of the oxidants will be controlled by diffusion process. So obviously that flux means number of oxidant particles moving from the just near the oxide to gas interface to the silicon dioxide interface. So that flux J2 is proportional to del N del X, and if you equate it, obviously you have to multiply it by the capital D, which is diffusion constant. Capital D is the diffusion constant. The J2 is proportional to del N del X. So J2 is equal to capital D into del N del X. That capital D is known as diffusion constant. Now the del N del X we can write explicitly as del N is the difference of concentration from the inox to N, that is what? Inox is the just after absorption. You see the structure, just after absorption is the inox, and then at the interface is the Ni. So Nox minus Ni will be the difference, that is basically the del N. And what is the del X? Del X is the already existing oxide thickness. Roughly you can write like that. So that means the del N del X, we wrote it in Ox minus Ni divided by At, where this At is the thickness of the oxide layer at time t, at any instant of time t. Finally, at the interface, the oxidants react with the silicon. That means by this diffusion law, the oxidant particles has reached at the interface now, and at the interface now the oxidants react with the silicon at a rate proportional to the concentration, and the resulting, and they will result in a flux J3. That J3 is proportional to again Ni. And now if you equate it, that J3 is equal to Ks into Ni, where Ks is known as surface reaction rate constant. The Ks is written here, Ks is surface reaction rate constant. Clear? Now we got three fluxes. One is J1, another is J2, another is J3. J1 is all in gas phase. So from the gas layer to the surface of the substrate. Then comes J2. J2 is the just after absorption from that region to the interface. Once the particles has reached, particle means oxidant particles, has reached at the interface, then the flux is the J3. That J3 is proportional to the Ni. Ni is the number of particles at the interface, oxidant particles at the interface. And that if you equate it, then it will be J3 equal to Ks into Ni. Now in the steady state, that means after a lapse of time, the J1 is equal to J2 equal to J3 equal to J. That means a steady state will be reached after some time. That means how many particles coming from the gas phase will be equal to the flux J2. J2 means the diffusion of the from the surface to the interface. Then comes J3. J3 will be the reaction basically at the silicon. Number of particles coming at the silicon surface for reaction mechanism. So at this steady state, J1 is equal to J2 equal to J3. Say this is equal to J. Initially this is not valid. J1, J2, J3 may not be equal, but when steady state is reached, it is obviously J1 equal to J2 equal to J3 equal to say J. Now all the expressions of J1, J2, J3 we derived here. Now if you equate J1 equal to J3, J1 equal to J3, then we will found this relation. You can just do it. J1 equal to J3, then we will get H into N star minus Nox is equal to Ks into Ni, or N star minus Nox is equal to Ks Ni divided by small h, and small h already is a function of capital Hg, Ks, etc., which I have shown in earlier expression. Now if you write J2 equal to J3, because J1, J2, J3 all are equal, so J2 equal to J3, this will give you d divided by At into Nox minus Ni is equal to Ks into Ni, and from this relation you will get Nox minus Ni equal to Ks At I divided by D. Just some mathematical steps, nothing else. Now, once you get these two relations, the n star minus n ox is equal to something, and n ox minus ni is equal to something. Now, if you add these two relations, that will give you n star minus ni. Let us see how this values is. So, from those two relations you obtain the ni is equal to n star divided by 1 plus Ks by H plus Ks At by D. Again, we write J equal to J3, J3 equal to Ks into how much? J3 equal to Ks what is the J3 expression? Yeah. Now, this ni value is here, Ks into ni. So, this ni value you put it here, Ks into ni. Since flux is the number of particles per unit area per unit time, the growth rate is simply the flux divided by the number of particles per unit volume. That is NV, not N, here it is N, not N, it is the NV. If it is the N, then just flux, at equilibrium, the flux divided by the number of particles per unit volume will give you the growth rate. This easily you can verify. For example, you write down the dimension of flux. What is the dimension of flux? If you write number of particles per unit area, then centimeter to the power minus 2 per unit time, t to the power minus 1, that divided by volume, volume in centimeter to the power minus 3. So, now if you take the ratio of these two, then you will find that ratio is coming centimeter per second per unit time. Just you write the dimensions of flux and divided by that number of particles, that means there is volume, number of particles per unit volume, and then you will get that. So, the growth rate dAt dt is given by Ks n star. So, this Ks n star is this equation here is written, divided by Nv, Nv is coming per unit volume, Nv into 1 plus Ks by H plus Ks At by D. Now, 1 plus Ks by H plus Ks At by D, that means this expression is given by Ks n star by Nv dt, Ks n star by Nv into dt. Now, here the left hand side of this equation contains dA and right hand side dt. Now, if you integrate both sides, then you will get the thickness at a particular time. Here you are getting this dt time, and here is the dA, means thickness at any time, any instant of time, how much will be the thickness, that you will get easily by integrating both sides. So, that is done in the next step, and obviously it is not closed form integral. So, if you integrate both sides, you have to use a constant of integration, and that constant integration constant you can find out from the boundary conditions as the normal procedure. So, that is done in the next stage. Now, by integrating that equation, we get this relation, 1 plus Ks by H into A plus Ks A square by 2D is equal to Ks n star T by Nv plus small k. This small k is constant of integration. The value of this constant of integration is found from the boundary condition. What is the boundary condition? That is mentioned here. at t equal to 0, A equal to A0. That means we assume that at the beginning, when you started the oxidation process, the silicon surface has some oxide already. That means that oxide thickness is A naught. That means we assume that at t equal to 0, A equal to A naught. That means already A naught thickness silicon dioxide is existing. So now if we use this boundary condition, the constant of integration can be easily found as k equal to Ks divided by 2d into A naught square plus A naught, capital A into small a naught, and the small a naught is at t equal to 0 the oxide thickness. T means at the beginning, at the time of oxidation. And here we have made a substitution, and that substitution is A. This capital A is equal to 2d by Ks into 1 plus Ks by H. 2d by Ks into 1 plus Ks by H. One substitution has been made here, it's capital A. That substitution normally used to simplify the relations, nothing else. Next comes from equation 1 and 2, which we have shown in the earlier slide. This is 1 and 2. This is equation 1 and this is equation 2. So from this equation 1 and 2, we will get A square plus capital A into small a is equal to Bt plus A naught square plus A into A naught. Again, another substitution has been made, and that is B equal to 2d n star by nv. Okay. Now this equation becomes A square, equation 4, A square plus A into A is equal to B into T plus tau, where the tau is given by A naught square plus A into A naught divided by B. So this simplified equation now we got, which is A square is equal to capital A into small a is equal to B into T plus tau, where tau is given by this relation. Now we will derive the oxide thickness for two limiting condition. That means when the T is large, T means after a large oxidation time, and another is when T is very, very small. That means just at the beginning of oxidation process. Two limiting form of AT are of much interest to us. Case 1 means when T is large, T means small t means time. So after large time, that means T is very, very large compared to tau. What is tau? Tau is this. Large time means, what is the definition of large? Large means this value. This value means tau value, which depends on A naught is initial oxide thickness, and A and B, these are again two substitution, where B depends on the diffusion constant and A depends on surface reaction rate constant K. Now this value, when this tau value is small compared to the time, that we are defining the large time. So under that condition, solution of equation 5 we have to find out. So the solution is just the quadratic equation, the normal method, normal technique to find the solution is like this: A equal to minus A plus minus under root A square plus 4bt plus tau divided by 2. And here we have assumed that T is very large compared to the tau. Now, when T is very large compared to tau, that means this term is very large compared to this term. T is very large. In that condition, this term 4bt plus tau is very large compared to a square. If it is so, then you can neglect a square, then you are getting this term. Again, this only a term is also very small compared to other. So approximately, if you square it a square, t is equal to, we are getting b into t, because t plus tau we can replace by tau only. Now this is neglected, under root b into t, small t, 4, and this under root 4 at denominator 2 cancels out. So then it comes only the a square t is equal to bt, and small t is the time, and b is given by the relation already depends on the capital D, D is n star by nv, that is the b. So now here the general growth expression obtained is a parabolic growth expression. So this equation, you see, a square t equal to b into t. So this equation is similar to equation of a parabola. You know, all of you, it is similar to the equation of a parabola. Now that is why this constant b is known as parabolic rate constant, and this parabolic rate constant has the dominant role in deciding the oxide thickness when you are going for oxidation for a longer time. This is case 1. Now we will discuss case 2. And the case 2 is when oxidation time is extremely small, that is short oxidation time. And what do you mean by the short? That definition is given by this expression. Small t plus tau is very small compared to a square by 4b. That is the condition, second case. Under this condition, if you go for little mathematical derivation, mathematical steps if you follow, then equation 5 becomes at is equal to b by a into t plus tau. At equal to b by a into t plus tau. Now if you replace b and a by their substitutions, then this equal to at equal to ks h into ks plus h into n star by nv. That means in the second case, when t is small, we found the at any instant of time t, the thickness of the oxide is equal to ks h by ks plus h into n star by nv, which is not dependent on capital D. Here we found two parameters. One is Ks is very important, and this Ks is surface reaction rate constant, and this b by a, that means this equation at equal to b by a into t plus tau. So in this equation we found this oxide growth is linearly dependent on time, because you see this a b by a is a constant into the time. This is a linear equation. So that's why this b by a is called linear rate constant. So that means we got two rate constants. One is known as parabolic rate constant and another is known as linear rate constant. And parabolic rate constant will decide the oxide growth process when the oxidation time is large, and the b by a, which is linear rate constant, decides the oxide growth rate when t is small. And another very interesting point is that When T is very small, the oxidation mechanism is controlled by the surface reaction rate constant, that is B by A, which contains Ks, you see Ks. That is obviously at the very beginning. So the surface has got the major role to decide surface quality or surface condition, will have major role to decide the oxide growth process. But as time increases, oxide thickness increases. So there, who is going to govern? Their diffusion mechanism, because the oxidation species, the oxygen or H2 molecule, must diffuse through the silicon dioxide layer. Then they will reach at the interface, and then reaction will proceed. That means we are not saying that the surface reaction rate constant Ks has no role in the later stage. It has obviously some role, but that is insignificant compared to the role of diffusion mechanism. Because first, after diffusion, through diffusion mechanism, the oxidant particles, the oxygen molecule, has to reach at the interface, then surface reaction rate constant is going to play, isn't it? But at the beginning, when thickness is extremely small, when just oxide is started growing, silicon dioxide has started growing, so that time we found that diffusion has no role there, because no oxide thickness is there. Diffusion has no role. Only the surface reaction rate constant, that means how the surface quality and what are the impurity, etc., and surface how many numbers of silicon atoms are available at the surface. Depending on that, the oxide growth mechanism will depend. Clear? So now, in conclusion, we can write, for small oxidation time, that is early stages of oxide growth, AT is equal to B by A into T plus tau. For large oxidation time, that is at later stage of oxide growth, A square T is equal to Bt. This is linear equation, this is a parabolic equation. That's why B is referred to parabolic rate constant, this B, and B by A is referred as linear rate constant. And B by A values are given by these equations. C1 exponential minus E1 by kT and B by A equal to C2 exponential minus E2 by kT. This K is a Boltzmann's constant and capital T is the temperature. C1, C2 are constant and E1 and E2 are activation energy. Roughly the B and B by A are obtained from these two relations. So from these kinetics of oxide growth, you will be able to find the oxide thickness for a certain oxidation condition. That means, if you are told that the temperature is such, time is such, how much is the oxide thickness, you should be able to determine, provided you are given the values of B and B by A. So lot of problems are there in your book at the exercise. You will find to find the oxide thickness, or we want such oxide thickness, what should be the temperature, what should be the time. If temperature is told, then how much time it will take to get certain amount of oxide thickness. So these are all available. So problems are available, and I request all of you to solve few problems. And at a later stage in the tutorial class, I will also give you some of the problems to solve in the class. So those are all related with these analytical relations, and obviously the B by A and B, The linear rate constant and parabolic rate constants, those values are dependent on capital T, temperature. If you find the expressions of B by A and B, you will find some parameters which are dependent on the temperature. At different temperature, those values are different. That means if I give you to solve certain problems, to find out certain solution, then I have to give you the values of linear and parabolic rate constant. Okay. From this experience, that means the growth, the kinetic growth relations, next lecture I will just explain how the growth varies with different time and different temperature. Some simulated values are available and we explain those curves. Okay.